Good evening Zambia, and good evening Africa. I want to thank God that has spoken in regard to the prophecy of Zambian elections, 13 August 2026. I've watched prophets that were predicting the victory of Mndubile, trying to calm down, trying to actually say the elections have been rigged. So the prophecy was true. One of those prophets is Awesam from Malawi. And those that spoke about the victory of Hakainde Chilema, they are celebrating that God has spoken. I want to say photocopy prophets are always the loudest than the true prophets. I spoke 7 July describing exactly what will defeat Munduvile as rigging. I spoke and called for Hakainde Chilema to resign because people have rejected him. When there were two different kind of prophecies, those that were predicting Munduvile and those that were even claiming that Munduvile has been anointed and his anointment is a sign that he has been chosen. And me, I claimed on the point of anointing to say there is no one who can pray for Munduvile. There is no one who can anoint him. Because when Elijah was given a message to declare 3.5 years of drought, it only took Elijah to return the rains that were stopped. It only took, by then, evangelist Alex Masuka to declare the fall of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda based on a vision of 2nd February 1990, to declare the rise of Chiluba on the same vision, and the fall of Chiluba on the same vision, and the rise of the Vatican, Pope John Paul II, Caro Watila, when I was barely 19 years. I want to say that when I was saying this, I had a pure heart, pure conscience, the way I am today. When I'm mentioning Vatican, I'm not mentioning because I'm from SDA, and SDA speaks against Vatican. The prophets of the mark of the beast, Sunday law is coming. I'm not in those lines. There is no Sunday law that is coming. Sunday law was instituted already. This same Sunday law is the same Saturday Sabbath, because Saturday Sabbath is not a Sabbath. Today we have been having our Sabbath. When you look at the sky, you find that the moon is a quarter moon. It's a Sabbath today. The first Sabbath of the 6th month, Eluv. This month, we are going to have our Sabbath every Wednesday. Then the next month, we are going to have our Sabbath. If we want to have, I'll check on my calendar. If we want to have two new moon, it will be on Thursday. If you are going to have crescent moon coming out after 2 days, that means it will be on Friday. So we actually keep the Sabbath according to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, where God placed the greater light and the lesser light, the stars, to give us the signs for days, the signs for months. From the moon, we get those signs, and for years. So let me not go that far. Why is it that I'm speaking? I'm speaking to prove that the rigging of the election by Hakainde Chilema, where now everyone who failed to predict what will happen on the 13th August, they now speaking about rigging as their excuse of their failure of their prophecies. Those who are saying Mundubile is going to win. When me, I was saying Mundubile is going to win, but what is going to hinder Mundubile is terror everywhere, is the rigging of the elections. Listen to this video, and when you listen to it, you understand that prophecy is not a guesswork. When God wants to expose false prophets, they will have a photocopy of what you have already prophesied. Then they'll get what they know. When they speak to people, they'll understand it. Oh, Mundubile is going to win. Me, I said Mundubile is going to win, but Mundubile's victory is challenged by rigging. In clear and simple terms, I want you to listen carefully. Mundubile, by refusing to seek guidance and prayer, proves the same thing. I want to say that there's someone who actually insulted me, talked evil against my God. He says, your God is not God and is the immortal provider of life, and not the immortal provider of life and truth, but a liar, a ghost in a sharim. May the spirit of your God cover you. So I want to reply to these insults. Thank you. I said, I urge you to watch the space, to watch the future, and you understand what I mean, because you think I'm against Mndubile. This man went further to say, I'm not a political bandit, but certain things do not need a prophet to determine the outcome. Isn't it obvious? Prophets of witchcraft cannot overturn the truth by using a justifying demon, ghosts, altars, sharings, lies, manipulation, and the spirit of the dead in the immortal fire of God. I replied that there is no need of prophets on Mundubile victory, but without God's agenda, it's no change. Yes, people have decided to change, but that change must have nothing to do with Vatican. I will give a full answer to the next in the next video. Then this man replies. He replies and says, "You are becoming very irrelevant. Why do you draw the Vatican into this? You must justify what you say before you say it. Those who condemn others are covered by Satan, the father of all condemner and hence stand condemned. I replied and said, this one, those who approve churches of oppression are themselves sons of Satan, in simple terms. So Smenda na Makando is the one that did insult. I want to explain in a full detail. Despite that, I wanted to give a full history of what is Catholic or Vatican. But I'll leave this for another day. Let me explain one simple thing. I don't know where to start from, but I want to say that to help all those that are misinterpreting my visions, thinking that I'm hating Munduvile, my heart aches. My heart ache. I've my heart paining to see leaders like Chiluba dying after giving them a warning which they rejected. To see leaders like Manawasa dying when I told them that State House is invaded by a frog. They did not want to listen. They saw me as this man, the way he describes me, to say I'm an agent of Satan. But in the actual truth, I was a saving angel to Manawasa, a saving angel to Chuluva, a saving angel to Rupia Band, a saving angel to Michael Sat. Michael Sat, I told him before he became president, and don't go for State House. Better you speak from outside. They'll kill you, as I saw it in a vision. I also warned of Lungu, that Lungu's death won't be different from Michael Sata because they all developed wounds. I saw myself stopping Hakainde becoming a president because he was faced with the same wounds. Unfortunately, the time when Hakainde was campaigning, I was in Kosimampuru, and that is the only prayer which I gave in Kosimampuru against Hakainde Chilema of winning because I wanted to save him. That prayer was not answered. I'd prayed well yesterday and said, God, why can't you stop Hakainde from winning? Because people are going to suffer under Hakainde. As I saw it in a vision, I was disappointed to see Hakainde being declared a winner. But God did not leave it quiet to me. He gave me a revelation that I'll return to Zambia after Hakainde moves from power. And that vision, I was shown walking on a red carpet held by Michael Sata on his right hand. And he gave me a seat to sit before the gathering that was there. And he introduced me to the people. So now, yes, the person of Michael Sata, see appearance. I see Munduvile of the stature that I saw of Michael Sata. I always ask myself, but I've seen the first dream that I had of Lillian, the campaign manager on social media for Munduvile. I saw him. I saw her in a bedroom, and I sat next, and my daughter was seated on her bed. Then I said, "You have won. Your team has won to the campaign manager of Munduvile, Lillian." That gave me an insight that Munduvile will win elections. But to what? For what? Then the second vision that I saw, Munduvile cleaning the dish of mud. He found me cleaning, then he helped me to clean. And that is my call. When I'm calling Munduvile for prayers, I'm saying he must clean the mess that God gave me to reveal unto him. But now, by refusing to come for prayers, then I'm simply saying, in a manner that Sata refused, and Sata went without seeking the prayers that I told him. Sata died like a fool. There was an assassination attempt on his life. Immediately when I stopped praying for him, then it broke my heart. So I'm seeing Brian Munduvile heading the same direction, where the winning without God's hand is the same thing. Of course, there's another blockage of the rigging of election. That's why I'm simply saying, when I saw Kawesha being chosen in a private election by UPND, it's after 1 o'clock now. I'm feeling sleep. But anyway, I just want to share with you that I'm not bitter with your insults, but I'm so worried that Munduvile's victory, if God would permit him to go into State House without seeking prayer and anointment, is not different with their kind. But if he seeks prayer and anointment, he may deliver people from the hand of the Antichrist, the Vatican. Moreover, if Munduvile is supported by Vatican, it makes very clear that Munduvile will never seek prayer from me, because Vatican knows that the day I will pray for Munduvile, all chains broke loose, and Munduvile will remove Catholic business in every government department. People, when they look at Catholic Church, they see it from a view of a good Samaritan. When Catholic historically was involved into slavery of Africans, historically Catholic We have the Pope who confessed, Pope John Paul II, who confessed of how Catholic killed other faiths and he sought for pardon. Pope Francis also confessed on how Catholic murdered students, and the Catholic has done a lot of atrocities. Even Pope Leo the 14th, the current Pope, confessed. Catholic, to those who want to pretend that Catholic is a church, is not a church. It's a political party. This guy. Yes, listening to this video of 7 July, how many days before the election? The elections were scheduled on 13th August, meaning that it's 1 month plus 7 days, where I actually quoted a person that insulted me, that my God is Satan and is the one who covers me. I responded and explained partially on what I understood of what was coming 1 month, 7 days. I further quoted a vision that explained clearly without missing a word that Munduvile, by refusing to receive my prayers, I'm seeing is going the same way, where I talked about Sata suffering an assassination attempt in State House after I won. I said, if God can allow Munduvile to go without him being prayed for, he's going the same direction. Look at what happened. Munduvile suffered an assassination attempt even without even reaching State House. He was showing gunpowder on his hair. I saw the white powder. It is actually reported that the one who was shot 2 gunshots is dead. It is also rumored that the husband to Tasira Lungu also died, who was in the company of Munduvile. There are many other people that have disappeared and died. I've witnessed people with the cuts in their heads. I've witnessed the driver to Garin Combo, whose election was also rigged, who was cut. He was having blood all over. I've observed the Seni Tembo, who was taking food for the elections observer. He had his election observer hand cut, bleeding, because of his palm was bleeding because of the terror everywhere, which I saw. I mentioned to say, if God cannot intervene, a lot of people will die. And God's intervention, when Mnduvile was adopted, I was called for prayers. And we prayed. Mnduvile later, he was released. Even when Mnduvile was released, Makebi Zulu did not come back to report that, okay, Munduvile has been released. I said, as long as Munduvile is refusing prayer, nothing good is going to come out of his leadership. The difference with Hakainde Ichilema is the same, because Hakainde Ichilema refused the prayers since 2008 until to date. I'm still waiting for him. He's refusing prayers. What is it that is waiting for Hakainde Ichilema? I said the open grave is waiting. I mentioned of in another videos that I'll show later, I mentioned about I saw a funeral, a larger gathering. In that funeral, it was like the funeral of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, but Dr. Kenneth Kaunda had already died. And it was by the major street court, the local court there, near the flyover bridge. There were a lot of people. So now, I said, Hakainde will die. Then what I know is the prophets that are paid by the intelligence system of State House, because all what I did, I was writing letters of every prophecy. Even Hakainde Chilema, I've been writing SMSs to the wife of Hakainde Chilema. I had all those phone numbers, but unfortunately, my phones have been stolen, hacked by those who are hacking. My email address has been blocked where I can access those phone numbers. Everything that I have records, it has been blocked. But I said they cannot block what is revealed by God. God will still perform his prophecies until the current generation can understand that God uses me to speak the mind of God. When you listen this 7th July, go to my YouTube and search for that video so that you can listen to it completely. You are going to understand that I explained what God revealed to me, whatever happened from the 13th, 14th, 15th of this rigging of the elections. It was made, explained thoroughly. Even when this man was challenging me, I told him to say, watch the space. Watch the space. What will happen? And he hasn't yet come back to thank me for telling him what was happening in advance. I want to believe that in everything that we listen to as a prophecy, we must be careful of people who are prophets who do not declare God's judgment in their prophecy. All what they declare is peace. No God's judgment. You must know that such a one is a false prophet. I was asking if Hakainde is winning. Winning for what? A prophet must say, like what Abbot Angel says, no, I see this one, Hakainde Chilema is going to win. And another prophet talked about Hakainde Chilema. And this year one also was talking about Hakainde Chilema victory. But what is it that Hakainde Chilema is going to bring apart from terror? What is it that we expect of Hakainde Chilema apart from going to the grave? If he doesn't call my God, is heading the same direction. He will be the 7th president to follow suit. And the president who is going to take over from him, if he does not call my God, we are going to continue burying in Zambia. Why? Because Zambia is a head office of Vatican Freemasonry project. And this declaration is a declaration that I'm sure that God wants to make sure, as Pharaoh's heart was hardened when the firstborns of Egypt were dying, even those of Israelites who never put the blood on their doorposts. That's when he coincided with God. That's when he said, let my people go and worship the Lord. The day any Zambian president who is going to admit that God speaks through visions and dreams, because the whole world has turned against visions and dreams, calling it bipolar or schizophrenia. My arrest when Lungu was in leadership, and I sent my wife to the embassy, go and tell Lungu that I'm arrested. I need you to confess by acknowledging this ministry that I'm not sick. Instead, the secretary comes and says, can you admit, tells my wife to say, can you accept that your husband is sick, so that he can be transferred from the prison to from the mental hospital to Lusaka, because if you don't admit, he cannot be released. When my wife communicated to me, I said, no, 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 don't accept. I'm not mentally ill. Once you accept that I'm mentally ill, you are going to give them a signature to confirm to the world that I'm sick. They are going to use you before the court that the wife has admitted that Mr. Masuka is what? Is sick. So we want to release Mr. Masuka to go to Zambia. Then on the way, it's either the aeroplane, the pilot will come out with a parachute and leave the aeroplane to go and crash, so that they say, oh, Mr. Masuka crashed as he was in the aeroplane, and the drivers and everyone was there. They are all dead. Well, it's only me who is left there inside. So I told my wife to say, don't accept any favor that is attached for you to admit that I'm sick, because God had warned me of a project to kill me. Even now, there are people who are assigned to kill me. Even Hagainde's people, they hack my Facebook. I even found some pictures of one of the Akainde agents standing with him with photos. And once I come to realize that this is, they hack my gadgets, they close my emails. Even if I can keep the information, they try with all means to crush everything that I have as evidence. But God, on this Mundubile's prophecy, he has spoken clearly now. Anyone who is going to refuse to understand what God has spoken through this prophecy, such a one is cursed, and you see the hand of God. If you continue to insult me because you want to prove a point in support of the envelopes that you receive to prophesy lies, to overcrowd the true prophets, why all the prophets, they only prophesy about Zambia? Why they don't prophesy about Angola? Why they don't prophesy about Botswana? Why are they not prophesying about Iraq or Libya? They follow the litmus of my prophecy, because whatever I say, when the intelligence in State House, they receive it, they hire prophets to imitate my prophecy. Prophets in Zimbabwe, they are all speaking about Zambia. There are others who are imitating, trying to speak about South Africa, but their prophecy is nowhere closer to this evidence that I'm providing. The same prophets that we are talking about, Munduvile being anointed, they are nowhere closer. They didn't see the brutalizing of the army. They didn't see what I called as terror everywhere, where I said that there will be bloodshed. They didn't see that. They only saw Munduvile winning. They didn't see that Hakainde's victory is not winning, but it's rigging the elections. Me, I had to explain everything 1 month, 7 days before. I'll still bring to you more before this prophecy explanation that I gave, I'll give you the terror everywhere for last year when I was talking to say, for the opposition to remove Hakainde Chilema, they must come together because there's terror everywhere. I started warning about Hakainde Chilema, see victory accompanied with terror. And we have seen how the polling station have been gassed. Listen to this other short clip where I talked about bloodshed. Was precisely true. But now, I want to say, at this particular moment, Zambia rejected these visions. That's why I'm in exile. And at the same time, Munduvile is rejecting the warning and the call for prayer and anointing, because the power that Hakainde Chilema is using is different from all the powers these other 6 presidents that have died. Their power, though they were attached to witchcraft here and there. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was running away from Zambia. He was only stopped by Michael Sata. When the aeroplane was about to take off, Michael Sata says, no, don't go. You are running away. We want you until the elections are over. He had conceded defeat before the elections actually were held. Even when Satanism was part of what he was. But the kind of Satanism that Hakainde Chilema has, it is international. It is quite critical. And why I've tended to speak about it before the elections is because I want Zambia to understand that there can be bloodshed. A lot of people who die if God does not intervene. And listen to this video when Dr. Kenneth Kaunda warned about Hakainde Chilema before his death. And that is the main reason why Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was hastened to die, because his health deteriorated so quicker than expected. Because when I saw him running when we were burying Nelson Mandela, 2014, is it 2013? Yes, in this video, I actually confirmed that there will be bloodshed. And in the confirmation of bloodshed, I want to share with you information that leads to prove that there are people that were killed at Munduwire's residence. And it has been confirmed that there was some exchange of gunfire. When the government can lie, it gives a very different story from what we have heard. And it means that those guns were exchanged from who? Munduwile could not have been arrested if he had guns and been released. So I see the government biting its tongue when they say there's no one who kidnapped Munduwile. At the same time, they are saying there was some gun exchange. In other way round, they are confirming what Munduwile actually said. So upon you listening to this declaration that we need to pray so that there's no bloodshed, and we prayed. I remember in my last video, I referred to try and say I'll put a voice note regarding the prayer that was made by my child, who actually said Munduwile may die And when she wanted to correct it, she says, "You fell." This was before the announcement of the election, the very time when Mundubile was adopted. So I want to say to those that are fighting my ministry, I just failed to record on my Facebook on the midnight, and the one on YouTube, it simply cut. Someone even wrote to say they are not able to see me on YouTube, meaning that when truth is said, it's not easy for people to receive it. It's been restricted, it's been monitored, we are being hacked. So I want to pray to God that those that are receiving this message, they must not hesitate to share it. They must not hesitate to speak about it. May the will of God always continue helping us to understand the will of God. Mundubile, see, rejection of prayer is what I'm trying to expose. People are saying that I must look for Mundubile. There are people that I may not mention names anyhow that have tried to give me the contact of Mundubile. I've tried to talk to someone early this year, where Mundubile could not want me to see him on a video call. I said, no, I cannot pray for someone I don't see, or always pray for someone who I see, because I know to say there are people who can imitate someone's voice. And the one who claimed to be Mundubile says, no, I don't want to be seen on social media. But he's a person who's on social media every day. He does just wanted to be seen to me, meaning that he has his own choices of prophets that will pray for him. And hence the failure of this victory, as I warned that there will be a massive rigging, terror everywhere, and bloodshed. So let's look at this picture of a person that has been confirmed to be missing and dead. And there are others that are not yet confirmed. So this confirms precisely 100% of fulfilled prophecy. I heard you saying in your prayer that Munduvile is going to die, is not going to do it, to come out. You made a mistake. You think it's a mistake because are you not the one when we are at UN there when you said this bed that is playing on the road to be hit by a car? You remember? And it was hit by the car, isn't it? You remember that prophecy? It cannot be a prophecy because you tried to avoid it. You mentioned it again very strongly. Don't you think it's a prophecy? God was speaking through you. Hmm? So, again, who said that the time when we attacked the garden, who said disaster? It's her, isn't it? The first word she mentioned, it was disaster, terror everywhere. And immediately when she said so, when we came out of the garden, we were attacked by a gun, isn't it? When I heard that word which came from your mouth, I realized that it's not you who is speaking, but it was God that was speaking from you. You thought it was a mistake. And I remember also when we were in Hamaskra, you prayed about us returning here, and we returned. So your utterances to me, they are quite prophetical, and they touched me. So I said, before I could pray, it is something that I wanted to confirm with you. But as you are saying, it's a mistake. But according to how you said it, I know that you have now mentioned, and in fact, not only that, it was quite heavy when you mentioned it. You heard it, please, eh? Now, now, what's a good?
I don't know.
Yes, upon adding the audio that I actually recorded after some prayers when we were praying for Munduvile, CSEFT, I want to say that I want to prove to the world that there was a rigging. There's one man who has given an audio, a video confirming how elections have been rigged. He was citing one of the most remote area, Dudumwezi, where 40,000 a village can produce people that can vote over 40,000. How possible it is? So, which is a sign that presidential elections were rigged. So, I want to pray to God that may we always understand the will of God in this prophetic ministry. After I've listened to this, I hope everyone else will understand the will of God in this prophetic ministry, and let us stand and support God's ministry so that God can bring to reality the purpose of Zambia in this prophetic ministry, where Zambia will have a leader that will surrender himself to the agenda of God.
One constituency, abantu 40,000. One constituency, abantu 50,000. How is that impossible? So vaICZ muretwebo okwebati Dundumwezi yaba popular ku bantu more than Lusaka. Njofo muretweba kwati kulya ku Dundumwezi kulya kumpanga kulya kuyokulira otoni n'eng'ombe n'embushi abantu bafula ukutira mu Lusaka umwaba capital city. Only ngachakobati central imo, I mean constituency imo, it doesn't abantu about 40,000. So what about the provinces and shikweta abantu banga? Imwe legene kutumyanga mumenzo na imwe. Muna kwata twasambirira. Imwe yama result yabufi. 3 provinces, 8 each the 7 province population yabantu ubo wena bufi. Apata perezo kambokora bulema babemba ti mwe babemba bakaine mali bapere vote yomwe bakuchipata bakaine mali bapere vote abantu balima namba fyei kurusano kya mkuvotera babrani Munduvile ichode myebe chishinga kuno kumuchinga province mavoti yanga bakainde basendereko muye kuru apura muye kuisa ichiri pofya apa va ECZ yarama result bare punda yari yabu imwe constituency mote chikwata wanda bali 40,000 nango abatonga bala vota constituency mote chikwata wanda bali 50,000 nango abantu bala vota ninchipena pamwe akabafyara na banga ninchibafyara bampundu bafyara 44 bafyara 55 peye ubo bufi na imobo. So imwe ba politician mweba kwata feeling yakuti mweba in short mweba etwati mweba politician ambele kuchita investigate mwambele Dundumwezi inefe 3 province muchite ku investigate first. Number 1 mukonke ba census bushe ba census ilo baile mkupenda kuda ku Dundumwezi bapendele population yabantu bali banga elo lomba mwe kuti ba ECZ ba ECZ bushi abantu abakopesha ma voters card kuda bali banga mwara fisange fishinga elo 2 ama rejected vote IRF makulia kuli 3 province na ama rejected vote IRF makuli 7 province mwara sanga tipare different ama rejected vote IRF makulia kuli ilia 3 province constituency mo ama rejected vote mwara sanga maybe ni 100 or maybe 50 something ama rejected vote. When you go kuli seven province, for example Wapula constituency mo ama rejected vote at 500 700 ama rejected vote. How is that impossible? tapali nefyakola bulema abanene wapati lumwe bapisha kuno kubwemba kuno ma constituency yanga obakaende bapitireko nga makumu chinga province chinsali central ukwamba kansela NRPUP mayor NRPUP naniga MP NRPUP ukuingifye nga mwafi ukuingifye mwe kuchipata abengifye abapitire NRPUP Murusaka mayor ukwambele fe kuli mayor NRPUP kuli kateka kutse chikose kuli kateka kutse chikose imwe papa nabatumyanga omenso abana mekutumyanga omenso ku politician mwema politician imeni ambele kuchita investigate ililiashi abana abatumyanga mu menso na yaramaliza out yabufi yaramaliza out yabufi filafye na barepu na bayisize tifyabufi imwe 30 constituency imwe kwata abantu abali 50,000 na imwe constituency imwe kwata abantu abali 50 pin what about Musaka mara abantu banga kopa be uchera kwata abantu banga ngasa kutira kula kuba tonga constituency imo ile tira population ya constituency li Musaka ninshi imwe obo bufi na imwe lekeni fyo ubo bufi ubo wena bufi bula bufi ayama election ya this year yekalile ni punch na kabiri imwe makamaka mwe ma politician ambeni kwatita investigate ifishinga mwara fisanga ifo furagire twakaponyepo ero wali upia ndina ngumuine ni muine pe pa mienu fya pope fragire nata yakaponepo yali mafini fitafini yali mafini fitafini that's why ngana mwana fina celebration ya abantu na ipusanako na celebration iyo abantu bonse echo abantu ba celebrate nga ba wina when you look at abantu ba celebrate abana onofi kuno konjikalire kuno kuma areas kuno komberere kuno kulika gomboni ndiko kono abantu ba celebrate tabakwene na 50 so it's showing that if itavibelele it's showing that if abantu tabafipokelele ichina abachikana abantu nabachikana nomba pakurandira fitabakwete so mwe bakwetenza mbusha kuranda mwe bakwete kona amaka aya kurandira kwa abantu ilili ashilimieni ilili ashinga mwali imya twala misapota tatuletira mwime ya shimubusho olubuli imya nife mumutende fe mwambe fe investigation mkonke fera chikulinga nife mulingiro kulikonka eko baba abantu abamichirire abalolekesha pamananekane pama vote abalolekesha pama election ali chitika the whole world ngakuru kwa kuchita bill chitenia bill bamyasuke so that ili ashimwambo kulikonka munafuti mumone ama election ya this of aende ama election ya this baka ende balipona imu ama Zambians tabapena ero chimbi 3 province.
Yes, after you've heard this confession of elections, I am simply confirming 100% that the elections were stolen and that the prophecies of all other prophets that were overclouding the elections of Zambia, they did not see the rigged elections. They did not see the death of people. They were just photocopying the claim that, oh, Hakainde is going to win. They claim that Munduvile is going to win. And me, I went in between because I'm the originator of this prophecy. I talked exactly that Hakainde has been rejected, and the rejection of Hakainde, it will lead him to use terror to make his way into State House. And this terror, I mentioned it categorically to mean rigging. And today everyone is talking about rigging. I think there are people that have mentioned, like Lillian Mutambo. I reached Lillian Mutambo trying to ask Lillian Mutambo to have access to Munduvile. Lillian Mutambo could not give me access to Munduvile. He could avoid me even after I told you here that your team is winning. I hope Munduvile is going to make it. You see, when people think that they own certain members of the community to themselves, I don't think it is apt of goodwill. It is something that is an hidden agenda. I want to say I'm not against Lillian Mtambo, but I'm simply saying whenever we want to do God's will, let us work together. Let us reach and tell these people, even if you are not happy with my message, even if you think I'm against Catholic because Catholic is the winning vehicle for everyone, but the end results of having partnership with Catholic, it gives us the same devil we are rejecting in Hakainde. We'll find it in the president that comes under the support of Catholic. So today, that the elections have been rigged, what is the way forward? The way forward is that whosoever knows or hearing what I'm saying, catch Munduvile by the collar and bring him to me. Then I give him what God would whisper to him in an ear so that he can even avoid unnecessary battle for laws, for law, uh, to go to the court and try and petition the court to change the elections and do revoting. It cannot happen unless that is happening before he is sworn in. After he is sworn in, the constitution of Zambia says there is no nullification of elections unless that was removed. So if there's no election nullification upon Hakainde Chilema being sworn in, it means Munduvile, he must seek God's anointment. When I pray for him, he must start preparing after 5 years, because I understand that the running mate of Munduvile, of Hakainde Chilema, regardless of whatever happens to him, the running mate will continue until the term finishes. So let's pray to God for God to bless Zambia, for God to have a president in Zambia that will be able to listen to his law and to call for a United States of Africa, hand in hand with Ibrahim Traoré. It is my prayer that peace and prosperity may follow those that will accept to listen to God's will. Amen.